New York Attorney General Letitia James has just been embarrassed by Donald Trump's lawyer on national television. So Alina Habba called out the AG for gloating on social media and expecting to laugh all the way to the bank. The problem is that the bond amount for Donald Trump has been lowered by more than half. Sources close to Letitia James say that she's incredibly irate with this update, and many say that worse news is still coming. Rumors are now coming from credible sources that Donald Trump and his team are confident that they can win this entire thing. Now, if that happens, they say that the target will now be set on Letitia James. Now, if you guys remember, Letitia James campaigned that she would sue Donald Trump every single day and enjoy it. With James winning as the Attorney General of New York, she's tried to stay true to her word. The goal is to make life miserable for Donald Trump. However, it's backfiring on James, as the former president has now been stringing along multiple wins. Alina Habba says that Letitia James has been forced to eat some humble pie, as the former president is now planning to countersue against her and New York.
What happened today was that Letitia had to eat every single tweet she has posted since the day the twisted order from Judge Engoron came out, with the ridiculous number, with the disgusting injustice on the American people, not just Donald Trump. And I would love to see what she tweeted today, because she was having fun posting the interest on a man who has done nothing wrong and a family who has done nothing wrong every single day. And then the appellate division came in and said, sorry, due process still exists in America. You still get a right to keep your assets until we get to review what all these lawyers are saying was wrong. 11 weeks, I have never seen something, Jesse, like I saw in that courtroom. It was a travesty on the justice system. And I am so proud of the appellate division for giving us the opportunity. They didn't reverse the case, but they will when they see what we saw. It was a disgrace. And today, there was a little bit of faith in the American system that I've lost over the past few years, I'll be honest with you.
Now, besides this, many say that the former president has grounds to sue the New York Attorney General. This would be under the grounds of James violating Donald Trump's rights. Sources close to James say that she's incredibly irate after the ruling from the appeals court. She knows what will happen if Donald Trump sues her for actions and words that she's thrown out at the former president for years now. Many analysts feel as if the war against Trump is purely political. This is a witch hunt and merely in place to interfere with the 2024 presidential elections. Now, speaking of, the cases may be helping Donald Trump more than Biden, as he's still leading the president in the polls, something that the Biden campaign may have miscalculated. And that's not the only bad news for the president. RFK Jr. just chose his running mate, and it's expected that they're probably going to take a lot more votes from President Biden. Nicole Shanahan has been picked as RFK Jr.'s running mate for 2024's presidential elections. Now, it is worth noting that both Kennedy and Shanahan used to be Democrats, but given what's been happening within the party, both of them have decided to leave.
I'm so proud to introduce to you the next Vice President of the United States, my fellow lawyer, a brilliant scientist, technologist, a fierce warrior mom, Nicole Shanahan.
Independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. introduced his vice presidential running mate today. It's Nicole Shanahan. She's 38 years old, new to politics, has never run for office before. She's a lawyer in Silicon Valley, formerly married to the co-founder of Google, Sergey Brin, so she has a lot of money. Shanahan talked about how she grew up as a Democrat. She's been a Democrat all of her life, but she left the party and is joining Kennedy's independent campaign because she feels like the Democratic Party is too beholden to corporate interests.
Kennedy was one of the closest to giving President Biden a run for his money within the Democratic Party, although the president still came out as the representative for Democrats this coming November. Many Democrats still support RFK Jr., and it's expected that this rivalry would only help the one man that the Democrats don't want to win in the White House, Donald J. Trump. This possibility is supposedly putting people within the Biden campaign into panic mode, as they're expecting Kennedy to lower their chances even further for the elections. Now, even with Trump making strides within different legal cases against him, he's still very much on the outside looking in. The judge overseeing his criminal hush money case in New York has just granted the Manhattan District Attorney's request for a limited gag order on the former president. The order came from Judge Juan Merchan and restricts Donald Trump from releasing any public statements about witnesses and others.
President Trump enjoying a big day on Wall Street while also facing new restrictions in one of his legal cases. This morning, ahead of his criminal hush money trial, former President Trump is under a new gag order, prohibited from making public statements about witnesses, court staff, and jurors in the case concerning his alleged payment to porn actress Stormy Daniels.
He's a Democrat judge. He wants to do that because they're all trying to damage Trump as much as possible.
The gag order still allows Trump to criticize the judge and district attorney. The trial begins in 3 weeks, but another deadline looms closer. Trump has 8 days to post a $175 million bond in his civil fraud case. A big day on Wall Street yesterday could help him with his financial challenges. Shares in Trump's media company rose 16% on their first day of trading. His stake in the company is now worth more than $4.5 billion.
The partial gag order was set because Merchant felt that if the statements made by the former president about witnesses, prosecutors, judges, and others tied to his criminal and civil cases were threatening, inflammatory, denigrating, and represent a substantial risk to the administration of justice. And I should note that Trump pleaded not guilty to a 34-count indictment charging him with falsifying business records in connection with a hush money payment his then attorney Michael Cohen made to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. Trump's defense attorneys feel as if the odds are being stacked against him at this point. They believe that his constitutional rights to a fair trial is at stake. Todd Blanche, one of Trump's defense attorneys, argues that many of the potential jurors for the case, they already believe that Trump is guilty without seeing a shred of evidence. Some analysts are kind of worried about the Trump treatment. It's how they've been trying to silence him whenever he tries to talk about his many legal cases, which has led many to believe that Trump is actually speaking the truth and that most of these cases are part of the political witch hunt to get rid of him just before the 2024 presidential elections. And it makes sense when you realize that some of these charges, they were dug up from years prior, but all of a sudden they're being brought up all at the same time. Will this count as election interference? Many experts believe that it should. However, experts claim that there's a slim chance of that ever happening. That is, unless Donald Trump wins it all by November. And there could be a lot of changes if he wins it by then, one of which could be related to the war being waged by Israel. Trump is said to have warned Israel about the war with Hamas. He says that they're losing international support and that they need to finish up the war in Gaza. Israel, though, continues to be defiant and even said that they're planning to enter the southern Gaza city of Rafah. So this raises a lot of questions within the U.S. as more than 1 million Palestinians have taken refuge there. Trump warns that Israel needs to tread carefully from this point on, saying that it's possible that they lose even more support as they continue to prolong this conflict that has already taken away many lives. But what are your thoughts on this, guys? Now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to continue to provide you guys with the information as it comes out. Before I go, I just want to thank you all for hanging out. Thanks for hitting the like button. Thank you for sharing this video on Facebook and Twitter, and I'll see you on the next one.